This is 7 News, the voice of the coast.
Tonight, police continue piecing together a mid-North Coast shooting spree as one man faces court.
The North Coast prepares to commemorate Remembrance Day.
I'm Daniel Gibson. Later on this news hour, 92 people to be freed today from Australian immigration detention. And could Optus be forced to pay financial compensation for the outage?
7 News begins now.
Good evening. One man has faced court and another is being questioned by police following a shooting spree on the mid-North Coast.
One person died and 4 cars were shot at as part of the terrifying events. Samantha Crowe has been covering the police operation for us. And Sam, what do we know about the 2 men who were arrested?
Well, Maddie, those 2 men are 26-year-old Corey Glass and 32-year-old Tyrone Russell. The pair are both from Victoria. It's also been revealed that the man who was found dead yesterday, Sam Lishak, was travelling with them and has ties to drug trafficker and killer Carl Williams.
Arrested in dramatic scenes by the Macleay River in Kempsey. Today, one of 2 men faced Kempsey local court. 26-year-old Corey Glass has been charged with 3 counts of discharging a firearm with intent to cause grievous bodily harm and 3 counts of using a firearm in or near a public place. Leaving Kempsey court today, his lawyer would not confirm if he would be fighting those charges.
It's too early to tell. We have to see the evidence, but I'm not instructed to speak to the media.
Glass has been ordered to undergo a urine test for cocaine. The 26-year-old allegedly told police he had been using the drug. 32-year-old Tyrone Russell, who was also arrested yesterday, is yet to be charged but has spent today being questioned by police. The pair at the centre of investigations into the shooting spree that stretched from Kupanook to Kundabung. Visitors to the region watched on as police moved in on bushes where they were hiding out.
All of a sudden, I saw them pointing towards the tree, and then they ran up and around the tree, and that's when they pulled them out.
Today, Fernbank Creek Road is still being treated as a crime scene. This is the location where a body was found yesterday morning. Police were also shot at.
Police are still working to pull together the pieces and the motive behind yesterday's terrifying events. It is believed that the 3 men, one of them now dead, were travelling together when the shootings took place. Today, relief from a community in shock that the alleged offenders are now behind bars.
Once I heard the news, I felt better for sure.
It is nice to know that they were arrested.
Samantha Crowe, 7 News.
In the same small community where one of those shootings happened in the early hours of yesterday morning, a man has died in a single vehicle crash. At 2:45 this morning, police attended the scene at the Hatch Road, just south of Port Macquarie. A man believed to have been in his 20s died at the scene. He's yet to be formally identified. A 41-year-old man was taken to Port Macquarie Base Hospital before being airlifted to John Hunter in Newcastle. Police are appealing for any information or dashcam vision from the area at that time.
Remembrance Day will be commemorated at services across Australia tomorrow. Students in the Manning Valley have paid their respects, honouring those who served through art.
Pausing to remember.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Students at Tanoni Public School commemorated Remembrance Day this week, holding a school ceremony and an artwork program, learning about Australia's involvement in the war from a local veteran.
I think it's important that we keep the memory alive and involve the veterans with the schools in educating them to remember what Remembrance Day is all about.
Drawing to remember, the kids unleash their creativity, learning about the role of the poppy and the history of the Great War.
To remember all the people that fought for us and that died for us.
We used poppies because they were the flowers that first grew on the field.
That the red on the poppy represents the blood from the soldiers.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, guns fell silent on the Western Front after more than 4 years of warfare. Services will be held across the country tomorrow to commemorate those who served.
There's over 300,000 Australians went off to war, and we had 60,000 killed, and almost double that amount were wounded. and we've never forgot. So it's very important that as part of the RSL that we continue that remembrance going today.
Hannah Hartup, 7 News.
A Southern Council land swap plan has been slammed as a kick in the guts for progress. State MP Ganesh Singh claims plans to swap 2 CBD blocks for foreshore land will delay the city's prosperity.
Last night, Coffs Harbour councillors decided to offer 2 properties in Gordon Street to the state in exchange for state-owned land west of Jordan Esplanade.
2 quarter-acre blocks in the city to be offered up for about 10 acres here at the jetty foreshores. I think that proposal is just quite laughable.
Government has demonstrated that's what they want, an immediate solution. We have those blocks, and those blocks can take 44 metres of development, 14 to 16 stories. They are perfect for low-cost, affordable housing.
A revised state jetty foreshores master plan is due to be lodged by year's end.
Our city will be waiting for this progress for years to come if the council keeps delaying.
20 times the size of the CBD blocks, the beachfront is currently zoned for community use.
If they moved ahead with their rezonings, would have taken years, particularly when you're doing as the state government are, and that's taking it from one level, which is the lowest level of zoning, to the highest level of zoning.
The vote a late addition to the council agenda.
Well, councillors were alerted they needed to be across the council portfolio of assets on the Monday prior. The full details they were to consider were only provided to them an hour before the meeting.
The state government has set that deadline, and a very tight deadline.
That's not in the best interest of us as a councillor group or the community at large to be able to make a decision that has significant financial and long-term impacts on an hour's notice.
Council voted 6-2 in favour of the land swap. Claire Simmons, 7 News.
Tenterfield has seen some relief across its firegrounds today, with the region receiving much needed rainfall. But many are still trying to cope after the blazes tore through the Shire. A recovery centre opened at the Tenterfield Memorial Hall today to support those doing it tough. Locals can access accommodation, finance, legal advice and business support services. Grants are also available for producers and small businesses. The centre is open every day until Wednesday from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m.
The Aussie hay runners were back delivering the second round of hay to Wauchope this afternoon. 34 trucks carrying over 2,000 bales of hay along the Pacific Highway created quite a spectacular sight. The hay is valued at almost $250,000 and will directly help 125 farmers and their families affected by the drought conditions and recent fires. A hay run for Tenterfield is scheduled for later on this month.
Beachgoers are being warned to be vigilant after an increased number of blue bottles were spotted along the North Coast. Stings from blue bottles can cause severe pain and swelling and can also be deadly to pets.
It may be small, but this jelly can cause a lot of pain.
The sting's relative, I guess, in comparison to a bee sting or something like that.
Blue bottle season has started a little early along the North Coast. The marine creatures have been spotted on Sharps and 7 Mile Beach in Lennox Head.
Generally, like on the beach here, like a nor'east wind, an onshore wind, we'll bring them in to the beach.
Lifeguards say it's a timely reminder for beachgoers to watch out for the creatures that float like jelly.
When there's a heat coming in and it's a really busy day, there'll be a lot of stings.
Though they may be shrivelled, they can still cause a lot of harm.
They can still sting, and that's what happens. The dog will eat them, and they'll often get stung around the lips and the face.
If stung, people are being told not to use vinegar and instead wash the sting under warm water.
Say if it was around your arm, pick it off with the tips of your fingers, pull the sting off. If you've got access to any little barbs, little blue barbs you see, get them off. Or when you get home, have a warm shower, as warm as you can handle. That'll denature the sting.
Pet owners are also being urged to keep their animals away.
There's the potential for anaphylactic shock and swelling of the upper airways and severe respiratory distress, which is rare, but, if they're in distress, they should get checked out.
Elise Holden, 7 News.
Well, Kirsty is here now for a look at how today's weather stacked up around the coast. And Kirsty, we have seen quite a few storms around today.
Yes, certainly in the north. Nick and Maddie, hello to you both and good evening, everyone. We had some light showers for the mid-north coast overnight. Scattered showers again this morning before those widespread storms moved through the mid-afternoon. Those storms saw showers across Ballina and Byron Bay. A severe thunderstorm warning for heavy rainfall, large hail and damaging winds was in place for most of inland parts of the mid-north coast today and the northern rivers. That has since been cancelled this afternoon. Wild winds about in Grafton. We saw a 91 km/h wind gust this afternoon, and it remained muggy at times with the moisture in the atmosphere as temperatures range from the low to the high 20s. Leesmore 25 and Coolangatta 24 degrees. Clearer overnight and into tomorrow. I'll have our weekend forecast shortly.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kirsty. See you in a couple of minutes.
Still to come in 7 News, a Manning Great Lakes Surf Club could soon get a makeover.
And school kids in Taree prepare to swap their books for some oars this weekend.
And a little later on this news hour, asylum seekers released by the Australian government after a High Court bombshell. Optus in crisis mode as businesses call for financial compensation and hopes to minimise the civilian casualties in Gaza as Israel succumbs to international pressure.
Welcome back. Crowdy Head Surf Club has received $841,000 in funding to upgrade their car park that backs onto the beach. 59 sealed car spaces along with a footpath will be constructed, improving access to the popular spot for tourists and locals. The funding comes from the federal government's Local Roads and Community Infrastructure program.
This car park, during the floods and subsequently, was a bit of a minefield. Muddy, potholed, and a nightmare to park. It was a disincentive to use this beach.
Construction will commence in mid-2024 and is expected to take 3 months.
Manning Valley Anglican College will host the Mighty Manning Regatta this weekend. This is the first regatta the school's hosted, putting them on the map with other big rowing schools right across the state.
Oars at the ready. Manning Valley Anglican College are set to host the inaugural Mighty Manning Regatta this weekend.
So it's really exciting because this is our first time our school is organising a regatta, and it kind of, puts us up to par with the other bigger schools down in Newcastle and Sydney because they have their own regattas and now we have one too, which is really good for our school.
The event will bring competitors from as far as Newcastle, with hopes to expand the competition to Sydney schools next year.
There's a mix of school-based events and club events, so we've got events for single scullers, double scullers, quad sculls, fours, and there's an 8 race as well.
Many of the kids picked up rowing through the school. As the date inches closer, the nerves are settling in, looking to start the season off strong.
A bit nervous, but kind of excited. Second regatta of the season, and we're starting to build up for state champs.
You always hope for a win, but yeah, this is kind of getting into the racing season, just so preparing myself and getting ready to race for the rest of this year.
On Sunday, rowers will battle it out for the top prize, the Wilkes Shield.
The race on Sunday is the shield is for the winner of the open sculling event, but also boats of other the quad sculls and doubles can also race in that event as well.
Hannah Hartup, 7 News.
Still to come in 7 News, the 3-day field class championships start at the Coffs Harbour Rifle Club.
And a Ballina Muay Thai fighter prepares to challenge the best on the world stage. Welcome back. A Ballina Muay Thai fighter has punched and kicked his way onto the world stage. Mark Standing is preparing to take on some of the best in the industry as he jets off to Thailand for a training camp next year.
Strapped up and ready to go. Mark Standing isn't letting anything get in his way. In the next 2 months, Mark will set off to Thailand, ready to compete against some of the best fighters in the industry.
It's definitely the most hardest fight sport, I think, because you have elbows, knees, punches, kicks, and the clinch as well. So it's hard.
Mark is training twice a day for 6 days a week in preparation for his fight.
every day I'm in here just grinding. Me and Spiro just go through pads most of the day. And
He'll also partake in an intense training camp where he's hoping to up his skills.
I'll have the strength and explosive power, that's all there, but I really need to work on my clinch, and that's the main thing I'm going to Thailand for.
Head coach Spiro Dzanos says Mark's ready for the challenge.
You've got trainers who have been training since the age of 6 and 7 with massive experience and knowledge that Mark can take away from him.
And
Spiro says it's never too late to start Muay Thai.
Okay, let's go. You ready? Jab cross. Step in elbow, right knee. Beautiful.
Yeah, if you want to be like Mark and get to his level, the first thing is just to be consistent and come to training as often as you can, 4 or 5 times a week, and then from there it'll just evolve.
Elise Holden, 7 News.
The 2023 Kempsey Cup has been run and won this afternoon at an overcast Kempsey racecourse. The Trevor Hardy, trained ahead of his time, stormed home down the outside over the last 200 metres to finish first past the post. In second was Little Profit, with Kazarina rounding out the top 3 after a photo finish. Believed so was fourth Barney Rabble, who did lead for much of the race, finished last.
In a major coup, the Coffs Harbour Rifle Club is hosting the state's titles at their range this weekend. The Field Class Championship has attracted a full roster of the top shooters from right around New South Wales.
Rimfire shooting in the Field Class Championships and competitors in bonus shade after early rain at Dairyville.
Gee, I hope you didn't film my target because I was probably my worst performance to date. So, yeah, look, yeah, we have our good days, we have our bad days.
I think I did well. We'll find out.
Some of the best vying for more than $10,000 in cash and prizes.
We've basically bought the state titles out of Sydney. Because usually shot at Malabar, we've got it out of Sydney and brought it to Coffs.
We've got some guys from Tamworth here, so Pete Barnier, he's probably their top gun, and Dean Dewhurst, and we've also got our own Al Phillips and Ben Reese competing for Coffs Harbour.
At a seated range of 60 metres, they shoot a forced application of 1 shot for each of 5 20-second target exposures. And rapid firing of all 5 shots during a 30-second exposure. And the snap, 1 shot in each 3-second exposure. Then do it all again from a prone position at 90 metres.
It's kind of relaxing. Concentration of just you, the rifle and the target, and the world just disappears for the next 2 minutes. There's shooting and then there's the social aspect of it. I love the social aspect of it as well.
A full field will contest tomorrow's centre fire. Claire Simmons, 7 News.
Still to come in 7 News, Kirsty's in with your local weather forecast. We'll see you in a sec.
Welcome back, everyone. We have patchy cloud along the coast tomorrow, but let's take a look at what's happening on the waters. And for surfers on the North Coast, an easterly swell around 2 to 4 feet for Byron Bay, and the same at Lennox Head, sitting around 2 to 3 feet at Ballater's North Wall. On the mid-north coast, swells up around 5 to 7 feet for Port Macquarie, and further south at Foster, around thigh to stomach height. For the boaters and fishers on the North Coast, seas around 1.5 metres. Our winds are swinging out of the northeast around 10 to 15 knots, up to 20 knots at Byron Bay. Stronger winds around 30 knots south of Coffs Harbour, with a strong wind warning in place. Sea heights up to 2 to 3 metres. Taking a look now to our synoptic chart, and a ridge of high pressure along the coast should influence more stable weather for our weekend, with clear skies and temperatures increasing. That heat will continue to build thanks to a trough over the inland, which is dragging in heat from the north as well as some warm winds. The next wet weather system does look to move through central Australia, reaching parts of New South Wales early to mid next week. The chance of rain does also look to contract to our northeastern pocket, no more than a few more millimetres across parts of the west. Along the coast, we could see moderate falls, some heavier rainfall totals within isolated thunderstorms. To our weekend weather now. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies along the coast for our weekend. A slight shower on higher ground as temperatures reach the mid to high 20s. Very windy weather, particularly along the mid-coast as northeasterly winds reach more than 35 kilometres an hour. Byron Bay, some cloud cover and a top of 23. Offshore tomorrow, an easterly swell hovering around about 2 to 3 feet. Winds out of the north to northeast, a strong wind warning in place for the Macquarie and the Hunter, with those winds reaching up to 30 knots. On Sunday, we will feel warmer temperatures as we return to the high 20s for Port Macquarie and Dorrigo, and the 30s for much of the mid-north coast. Warm north to northeasterly winds in the morning, but we'll see a wind change during the afternoon and evening, as well as a chance of storm developing. That storm could become severe, increasing a chance of damaging winds, as well as heavy rain and even hail. Coffs Harbour, partly cloudy and a top of 29. A cooler change will arrive on Monday, though, that will see temperatures drop 6 to 7 degrees for the mid-coast. Foster down to 23 and Wauchope just 25 degrees. And combined with cooler southerly winds as well, some storms possibly developing over the inland. Certainly a little bit of everything over the coming weekend ahead.
It sure is. Thanks, Kirsty. We'll see you Monday. Now, for a quick look at fuel prices around the region. The best for unleaded in Port Macquarie is $1.88 at the mobile or independent servos. Diesel is $2.12 at the independent there. In Taree, United Petroleum has unleaded posted at $1.96 and diesel for $2.14. The Coles Express at Tweed Heads has unleaded at $2.25 and the Astron Servo has diesel for $2.22. And at Grafton, unleaded is posted at $1.99 at the Ampol, and the independent at South Grafton has diesel at $2.24.
And that is all we have time for tonight and for the week. Thanks for watching. You can always catch up on our website or at 7plus.
Right now, though, Dan has your national news. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you again on Monday night at 6 o'clock. See you there.